this video was supposed to be out on or before Christmas. We're in January, guys. I'm sorry, things happen, but hey, better late than never. And considering how you probably still have your Christmas tree up, let's just not talk about it. And just run the views up, like and subscribe and all that. Thank you so much. Also, a late happy holidays and happy New Year to you all. Thank you. What is your first thought when you see this guy? Obviously, it's Christmas, or at least the holidays. Maybe it's holiday TV specials, Coke products, McDonald's, Tim Allen. My point is that Santa is everywhere. He's everything, almost omnipotent for a whole season of the year. But you know what I think of when I see Santa? Untapped potential. So you know I have to make him evil. You're probably wondering how I came up with this wonderful idea. It all started when I was young.
Mom? Hey, Mom? Who's Santa? And why is he breaking our house on Christmas? He's coming to my school tomorrow and I think I want to meet him. Also, did he give me any present I asked for? Mom? Hello? Mom?
Blasphemy! I'd rather die than let an imaginary fat fairy take credit of my hard work. He is the devil!
And that's how I found out that Santa wasn't real. I exaggerated slightly, just a teeny bit, embellished, if you would. My mom was actually really chill about it. She did tell me the whole Satan Claus things, whatever. So, love you, Mom. From this day forward, I never believed in Santa Claus again. I also looked down upon any child foolish enough to fall for his devilish lies. I apologize. But that's the origin of my relationship with Santa. That sounds really crazy in hindsight. I wrote this down on the script. This looks really insane. Looking at it, hearing it, it sounds... What does Baltimore have to do with this story? Chill. Let me tell you. I'm patient, I swear. Over the last Thanksgiving break, I stayed at a family member's house in Baltimore where I brainstormed ideas. It was cold, and I was feeling nostalgic. My mind eventually returned to my good old childhood. Now to prepare for this next video, I did my research. So let me give you a brief history lesson on Santa Claus to see how I reached this concept. You've probably all heard of this at this point, but let me tell you anyway. In the 4th century, in Myra, there was a saint, Christian bishop, named Nicholas. He was known for his legendary generosity and miracles. And eventually he became the inspiration of Santa. But let me tell you how that happened. Now, based off of what I remember from my research, he went around and gave money and gifts, I think just money, to families in poverty, right? And there was this one story in particular where he went to the house of a man who has 3 daughters who he couldn't get married, and then he just threw racks at them. He just threw money bags at them, and nobody knew who did it. And it turns out it was Saint Nick, and that's how we have Santa Claus. I don't know. I'm not doing more research for this. I believe, thanks to my research, that Saint Nicholas wanted to keep this story under wraps, and he didn't want anybody to know what he did. But it eventually got out, word spread, and everybody started to love and revere Saint Nicholas. And eventually, it snowballed over time to Santa Claus, and him going down chimneys and bringing joy to children all over the world in one night, and Rudolph and the North Pole, and elves and yeah. All right, just a little recap, just so we on the same speed, okay? The evil Santa from our childhood and the story of Saint Nicholas is what you see here today, okay? This is the result of those two things. Are we on the same speed? Your checks out, we good? All right, good. Now, meet Saint Nick. No, not this guy. They're both Saint Nick, yes, but mine is different for obvious reasons you've probably already assumed. Saint Nicholas. Some call him Saint Holiday, some call him Saint Nick, and some call him the traveling wonder. Never staying in one place for too long, Nick spreads as much joy and charity as possible all over the world in a single year by himself. This saint is an undeniable force of joy and hope in this world, and almost everyone reveres him deeply. To accomplish all he has, it surely takes more than a normal man. Thankfully, Nick isn't a normal man. His origin is unknown and his positivity unmatched. But equally as incredible is his ability to fight for justice. It's said that even more mighty than his charity is his might. The power he commands over the elements has single-handedly been a balance to the evil plaguing society. He appears to be everywhere, know everyone, see everything, but isn't malicious and always tries to save. His famous lists are one of his many tools to aid him in his duty. Just like Santa, Saint Nick knows when you've been bad and knows when you've been good. So be good for your own sake. Whether you're good or evil, bad or good, Nick has the same effect on everyone. When he's around, wonder follows, and cheer is never absent. Now, why does he look like that? When coming up with Nick's design, he was originally just supposed to be a big buff, cool looking Santa, which is kind of how he turned out anyway, but it wasn't working for me. So that's when I decided to do the research I was speaking of earlier. See, at first, this video was supposed to be, what if Santa was a Souls-like? So I needed all the info I could get, and because of that, I evolved the idea to what you see today. After delving deep into the lore of Santa Claus, I decided to incorporate more elements from the one who started it all, this guy. So that's where I got his hat and his beard. Coming up with this outfit was almost too easy for me, way easier than it usually is. You see, since this originally started out as a Dark Souls inspired project, I put him in a medieval setting and made him dress accordingly. Santa is magical and joyous. He isn't in full battle armor, so I gave him more peasant clothing to show his humility and simplicity. Hence, the shirt and the gloves. I still needed to keep some aspect of Santa, so I decided to give him the Broly pelt, but Santified, to make him look more like a brawler and also like Santa. I gave him the most noticeable part of his design, his stature. Bro's a beast. No, like seriously, he's like 8 feet tall, 1,000 pounds, all muscle. Is crazy, and somehow he still can do this stuff. Like you see this? That's him. He's a tank. On that note, let's talk about his abilities. When you think about Santa, I think most people skip over the fact that in his myth, he can visit the entire world in one night and without being noticed. How? So I gave Nick super speed, because that's ridiculous. And yeah, that's pretty much his main thing. He's unbelievably quick and his power rivals his speed. Bro's a dang unit, but he's a jolly fella. He won't strangle you to death. He'll just, chuck a present at you while breaking the sound barrier. Those presents contain cold, by the way. He still does that here. Also, remember when I said he can control the elements? Well, it's really just wind and water / ice. I couldn't make him the avatar. I had to nerf him somehow, okay? So that's how you see him do things like this. So here we are, well into the video. And I know some of you no doubt are asking, what makes this version of Santa so twisted? And to answer, well, he's not Santa. Also, you guys really don't sound like that to me, by the way. I'm sorry. Sorry to make fun of you. If you haven't noticed, I not once called Saint Nick Santa Claus. That's because he's not. Santa is somebody else. Just like Nick before him, he's known by many names. Once as the infant, then as Papa Noel. But nowadays, He goes by Santa Claus. Some might describe him as jolly. Some might describe him as imposing. But nobody dares to speak against the jolly, for he knows. Children around the globe are visited by Santa so he can give them gifts. More on this in a bit. This Santa, just like the one we know, has a naughty and nice list. But mine works a bit different. This list is far more strict. No good deed goes unpunished, as the saying goes. Truth is, this Santa is more like a demon than our jolly fat man. He's truly sadistic, vile, and egotistical beyond belief. In this world, Santa is practically a god, and he won't take kindly to being treated as less than such. Children are categorized on these lists by how much they've prayed to Santa and spread the word of his majesty. Those who he deemed good enough get to see another day. But the unfortunate souls who didn't become his elves in the end. It doesn't matter what list you end up on, because the Jolly One loves to visit his subjects on him. And if you happen to be awake during this time, remember when I said no good deed goes unpunished? If you spend time spreading joy instead of Santa, he'll personally greet you for a private conversation. Struggle is futile. Resistance is useless. This demon holds powers just as unholy as his disposition, and the army he commands is near endless. There's no one to go and save you. Or maybe. Alright, that was a little tense. That was a little much. Let's talk about his design. Let's do that, please. Now, this part isn't scripted, and if I sound a little different, it's because I'm freestyling, so just bear with me. Now, to start off, I want to talk about pretty much the most noticeable part of his design. You know, I'm pretty sure his silhouette. It's crazy. This dude is a mountain. He's huge. Like no joke. He's about like 4 houses big. Maybe not. I'll explain later. Anyway, I wanted to make this Santa Claus Santa, but twisted in every single way possible. And I want to talk about his stature first. He's incredibly large. He's huge. He's humongous. Okay, he's like he's shaped like a light bulb, and I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty weird. I wanted to make him weird, but also intimidating at the same time. Okay, he's like there's some reference to a character I have in my head that I just can't think of right now. Anyway, moving on. He's massive, and in this pose he's in, I wanted to make him very militant and very commanding. That's the type of vibe I was going for when it came down to his pose and the silhouette. Now, to talk about another part that actually aids his silhouette even more is his really curly, super huge, off-putting handlebar mustache. It's crazy. I wanted to literally exaggerate every single thing we know about Santa Claus. You know, his mustache, his rosy red cheeks, him being a fat dude, and him being a jolly guy. And so I took that jolly aspect and sort of flipped it on his head, but still kept it jolly, if you know what I mean. You know, fun fact, one thing I actually really don't like is the trope of the smiling demon or the smiling entity in horror, but I feel like here this fits because it's Santa Claus and he's supposed to make you feel off-putting, right? Or at least in my rendition. So that's where I was going with this. And when I say he's supposed to make you feel off-putting, I don't mean like actual Santa. I'm talking about my version of Santa. He's supposed to be Santa. Flip on his head. We keeping it up. All right, good. Moving on to his eyes. I love his eyes. I love looking into his eyes. I love looking at his face and seeing his giant, bulbous, piercing eyeballs. Yeah. So basically, this guy, he's piercing into your soul whenever he looks at you. And that's not like an ability. No, he just looks really like he never blinks. He never blinks. And I feel like that would have been a super creepy element to add to this guy. And the fact that his eyeballs are literally just spheres, and off-colored spheres too. I think that I wanted to make him look decayed, basically. So that's why I gave him the purple skin. That's why I gave him the yellow eyes. That's why his teeth are huge and yellow. Like, I wanted to make everything look off. And I've said that like 4 times already, but you get the point. And now moving on to his clothes. His clothes are shaggy. His suit is very roughed up. Okay, it's very rugged. It's very dirty. It's very grimy. It's been through a lot. You can basically tell, right? And I feel like that's one of these things that's kind of typical. Like, you know, the hero is clean and the villain is dirty, right? The hero in this instance being Saint Nicholas and the villain being Santa Claus. But I will explain that in like a few minutes, probably less than that. Anyway, besides his clothes being completely roughed up and dirty and messed up and, you know, off colored, I kept the suit pretty much the same. I didn't really add anything to it. I didn't really change anything about it. The only thing I gave it was a little more flair to make his silhouette a little more iconic, I guess. His silhouette a little more unique. That's the word I'm looking for. And while we're on the topic of his suit, I'm going to talk about what's underneath. And don't be freaked out. I'm talking about his muscles, okay? His physique. He's really swole. And that's really about it. So moving on. Last few things I want to point out in his design is his gloves, pants, beard, and his shoes or boots. Starting with his pants. So I knew that I was giving him the Johnny Bravo build, but I didn't want to make it so like, I don't want to make his pants tight. I wanted to make everything make sense, still look like Santa Claus or at least Santa-esque. So I gave him like the baggy Goku joints. That's what I want for him. But I made them green because I felt like I wanted to add a different color in his design to make him a little more off-putting than regular Santa. So green pants, green Goku pants. Now his boots, for me, was one of the most fun parts of his design to actually look at and draw, because it kind of tied everything together. It made the whole design make sense. His boots are tall, they're big, and they're very imposing. And as you see, they have the red bottoms. Say what you will about that. And they were almost spike boots at one point. Okay, so I was gonna give him spike boots, but I feel like that's clashing with the rest of the design, and it's making it a little too edgy. So I rounded the bottom off to get like I don't know, like nubs instead of spikes, and that's what we have here today. But I felt like that would have added at least something new and nice to the design, to give the sense of this is Santa but not, this is Santa but evil, this is Santa but, pretty much. And now finally the gloves and the beard. I gave him gloves and his beard is pretty much normal, so that's really just what it is, just normal gloves and beard. That's it. Now moving on to the questions you guys probably, not even probably, no doubt have about Saint Nick and Santa Claus. Why are there two of them? Okay, why are there two Santa figures in this imaginary storyline that I've created for myself? Well, the answer is, it's because I felt like it. and I'm not trolling. This is actually the real reason. I really just felt like creating two Santa figures, and I feel like after I created those guys, then the story started coming together. I really don't have a storyline for it, but if you want to see that in the future, I got you. Maybe, you know, this Christmas in 2026, you know, you can do it. Anyway, I got sidetracked a little bit. The reason Saint Nick and Santa Claus are two different entities is because, in the little story I put together, is that Saint Nick was the base for Santa Claus, just like how he is in real life. You know, when I call Santa a demon, I wasn't joking. He really is not human. He is definitely an entity other than, okay? He is very much so alien to this world. And he took lots of pointers from Saint Nick, in the way of he was extremely jealous of how revered and how loved he was, of how everybody deeply respected Saint Nick. And he's pretty much like a devil figure in this story, because he got jealous and he wanted that type of praise and reverence. So I haven't really put the pieces together, but somehow Santa Claus impersonated Saint Nick, took over the world, you know. Then he started putting pieces into play, like, you know, turning the children into elves, and this is damn dark as hell, eating the children. That was crazy. Now circling back to Saint Nick, the reason why I have both of them in this video instead of just having one or the other is because they're meant to face off with each other. That's why they have all these DBZ-esque abilities. That's why they have all these Avatar style abilities, okay? I mean, I didn't really speak on Santa's abilities that much compared to Saint Nick's. I kind of went deeper into Saint Nick's, but that's because Santa Claus is a shapeshifter, if you will. Okay, that's why I said he can be as big as 3 or 4 houses. Okay, that's why you see him go from Papa Noel or the infant to Papa Noel, then to Santa Claus. That's why you see that happen, because that's his ability. That's just the main one that I have right now. He has a few more besides like the physical stats. I mean, he's comparable to Saint Nick. And where was Saint Nick during this whole take over the world and crazy end of the world type deal? Well, I haven't figured it out yet, but just know it has something to do with Santa tricking Saint Nick, sealing him away like Gojo style, basically. And there was a time gap between that and what you saw in Santa's portion. And with that being said, that's all I have for you here today, folks. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. This is a really long time coming, actually. I know I'm recording this in 2026. This is January 8th right here. I'm recording this well past the due date for this project, right? But it's taken so much time, so much love, so much creativity to put this out. And after Christmas happened, I was just like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna make this the best video I can for you guys. So here I am today. I also didn't want to go past like the middle of January, so I still have to rest it out a little bit. But yeah, I want to say thank you so much for the support on the last video. You guys gave me over 500. I still can't believe that number. I've been working my tail off for years trying to just get to 100 subscribers, and I got 500 in one video. It's crazy. No amount of words can express how thankful and glad I am that you guys have checked out my stuff and enjoyed it and rocked with it enough to like and subscribe and comment. Like, it's crazy, y'all. Thank you so much for everything. If you want to see more content like this, stay tuned. I'm gonna be making 1 to 2 videos a month, making content uniquely my own. You can't find this anywhere else. I'm one of one, and I'm never saying that again. But yeah, thank you for watching all the way through this long video. This is the longest one I've ever made. High effort. And if you want to see more stuff like this, like I said, subscribe, turn on notifications. Until next time, it's been my pleasure, and I'm gonna see y'all later.